We the people. When I say that, what does that mean to you? What do you think of? What does that trigger for you? Come on in, let's talk about it today. Listeners, I had my godchild was at my house and she was grabbing something out of my work bag. This is the bag that I carry everywhere with me all the time, on the plane, to every presentation. It has my laptop, so I'm with it a lot. And she had to go deep into a pocket. And she comes out with the U.S. Constitution because I carry it around. I have carried it around for probably 30 years. It's a little pamphlet this big, and it says on the outside, "We the people." And I could see her, she picks it up and she's walking towards me and she's looking at it. And she's like, and she can tell it's worn, that it's been opened more than once. It's not some pamphlet I just picked up. And she goes, plan on having to defend our constitutional rights or something? And I was laughing and she's like, I said, so is that your way of asking why I have this? And she's like, yeah, why do you carry the United States Constitution around? And I go, because I'm very aware that living the life I have, holding the identities I have, living the life I have, can be traced back to that document. That document and all the amendments that had to come along allows my life to be quote unquote legal. It allows me the policies that it allows me to have access, and it allows me to live my life. And I said, I'm very aware of that because at certain times you couldn't be who I am today because we didn't have the policy wasn't in place or the amendment wasn't made. And I said, so on my bad days, I said, in the plane, I will pull that out and I will look at it to remind myself of this document and how it affects how I can show up today. So that got me thinking, because she had the cover and it says, "We the people." What does "we the people" mean to you? Because today's world, we're in a lot of those people. I don't hear a lot of "we the people." I hear a lot of those. I hear a lot of those people followed by frustration, and frustration often shows up in name calling. Oh, if it weren't for those snowflakes. Oh, if it weren't for those rednecks. Oh, if it weren't for those folks who aren't educated. Oh, if it weren't for those folks who voted that way. But it's a lot of those people and not a lot of we. And just look at my hand gestures when I did that. Those people is very external. It's we're operating out of our experience and we are projecting it onto other people. And those people just this and those people just that. Our country, if you're in the United States, is amazing for many reasons. But the diversity that we hold is one of the beauties of our country. There's not a lot of countries that hold as much diversity, as much religious diversity, ethnic diversity, languages. There's so many people from so many identities, so many experiences coming together saying, this is our country. And as we all know, the thing that is the beauty, it can also be the very thing that harms us, right? The good, when left unchecked, can become our bad, right? Everything has its kryptonite, right? And so the beauty of diversity can also, that great beauty, when we see the we in our diversity as a country, it can create so much strength and so much power and so much beauty. When we don't see the we in our country, when we see the other, the those, that starts to splinter us, starts to divide us, and with division, as we know, we lose power. So how do we as individuals on a daily basis see the we, or remind ourselves of the we? The first thing is just catching ourselves. I know for myself, is catching myself when I start doing this. If they would. When I catch myself using they, or even on my bad and frustrated days, using names, right? Not positive descriptors. I hit that pause button and go, all right, and I bring it back to myself. So rather than me putting my reaction completely on that group of people and how they're operating, I catch myself when I start saying, if those people would just, or if those, or I, again, use a judgment term, I hit that pause button and I go, I bring it back into me. All right, Jody, what is showing up for you? What in your experience are you thinking is the right way to be, or is the better decision? And what are you reacting to? And so realizing that I'm having a reaction, naming that, and then starting to process why I'm having that reaction. And again, for me, going back to the book, looking at my identities and the experience it gives me really helps. It helps me understand, like, well, because I've experienced it this way and I think this is important and this, that's why I'm frustrated with why they're doing what they're doing. And so when I do that, that small thing of just hitting that pause button and reflecting on what is going on for myself, I am opening the door to new awareness. I'm opening the door to starting to see where this group might be coming from. When we can do that, we can become we the people. And we the people's messy. It doesn't mean I'm going to agree. I have friends, we have fierce debates. We don't agree, but there's a level of respect, and that respect shows itself in a couple ways. And so when I name these, are we demonstrating this? That respect shows itself in listening. The people that I debate with, or people who don't believe what I believe, we will listen to each other. We will hold a space to listen to each other. We will name where we're coming from. So rather than saying, because when we don't name where we're coming from, we will often just judge the other person. Someone tries to explain their view, a point of view, we'd be like, oh, that's stupid, right? Well, that's dumb. We'll just dismiss it. So number one, I'm not listening, but two, why do I think it's dumb? So rather than saying, I will say, hey, when someone's talking to me, one of my friends, we have different experiences and we believe very different things. And when he is talking, I'll be like, okay, just 1 second, I'm having a reaction, give me a second. And what I mean by that is I can feel myself wanting to judge real bad. I feel myself wanting to call him a name real bad. And I'm like, brother, hold on. I'm having a reaction, just give me a second. And then I try to ask a curious question. I try to say, can you tell me more about what you just said? Because for me, and I'm going to own where I'm coming from, because for me, it doesn't fit what I've experienced. In fact, not only doesn't it not fit, it's not feeling good. And a lot of times I will just be general. It's not feeling good rather than saying it's feeling suffocating, or it's feeling like you don't hear me. Because I get back into I'm blaming that person. So I'm just like, hey, it's not feeling good, and I'm having a hard time understanding why you would say that. So can you help me understand why you would say that? That allows that person to articulate, which allows them to think about their point through more. And I have another opportunity to listen. So listening helps us create the we. Being aware of our experience helps us create the we. When we can know our experience and how it's impacted us and how it affects how we show up, then we can own it. My words is I can say, hey, well, from my experience, this is how I've experienced it, so this is how I show up, and this is how I'm hearing that right now. That doesn't mean it's the right way. I'm just letting you know where I'm coming from. And so awareness of our experience, how it affects how we show up, the ability to hit the pause button, and the ability to listen, all opens the door to allow us to have we. Now, I'm talking at a country level, we the people. Just think about your personal relationships. Isn't this also true? I know I have lost friends because I haven't listened before, or I haven't owned how I showed up, or I didn't want to be curious about how they were showing up, right? And so I have lost friendships because of that. If you have a significant other, if we want to be a strong couple, then it means we have to be able to listen to each other. We have to be able to hit the pause button, if you want to be strong so that both people in that relationship can share who they are and really feel like they can bring their whole self into the relationship, it means we have to have awareness. It means that we have to be aware of, hey, how do we show up? What are our experiences done? And it could be small little things. In my relationship, there's, I call it the poverty trigger. Is there small little things I've experienced in my life that kind of activate me? And the smell of musty towels is one of them. So this is like a silly thing, but it still illustrates all the points. And so if I can't, a musty towel, I can't, I can't. The musty towel, I cannot. It brings me back to experiences that were not positive. And so if I smell a musty towel, I am like, oh, throw it away, throw it away. Now to someone, throw it away. You heard me, yes, I said throw it away. See, some of you listeners right there, you're like, what, girl, you just wash it. No, throw it away, it's got to go, okay? If I have someone, if I'm with you and you understand my experience, if I say, hey, I have experienced musty towels, they trigger me, they take me to a time where just that's not good, it's a reminder of not having, and I don't, no. You can choose to incorporate that understanding into how you respond to me. And so you might think, Jody, it is ridiculous that I have to throw this towel away, but because you have understanding and you want to show compassion and empathy, and hear those two words, compassion and empathy, you might throw the towel away. Oh, you might mumble the whole time you're throwing the towel away, like, I can't believe I'm throwing this towel away. All I'd have to do is wash it. We could use it for rags, but because you are willing to hear where I'm coming from and honor my experience, you might be willing to do that. For others, you might be willing to say, hey, Jody, I know that I hear you, that this is a trigger for you. I am asking, do I have to throw it away? Could I try to wash it and save it? And if it still smells, I understand, right? That's compromise. Everybody in a marriage more than 2 months knows about compromise, right? And so it's compromise. But if we don't listen, if go back to the relationship, if you don't want to hear me, or you want to react out of your experience, and your experience is you should use a good towel no matter how it smells, just wash it, you might become, and now listen to my word, I was going to say combative, but that's coming from my experience. So you might say, Jody, that's stupid. See, we go to the name calling. Jody, that's stupid. It's a musty towel. I'll wash it. It'll be fine. You need to get over yourself, right? Now, you say that to me, that's going to either take it up 10 notches or we're going to shut down. And you and I, we know this in our friendships, in our relationships, our love relationships, listening, having awareness, being able to hit the pause button, that allows us then to be curious about where the other person is coming from. And then those two big words I said, that allows us to have more compassion and empathy. When I can show someone compassion and empathy, that really starts to form we the people. And I know in my own relationship, if you were to choose, when I say, oh, this smells musty, and you understand where I'm coming, that it's a trigger for me, and I say, this towel smells musty, throw it away. And if you were to say, hey, I know this is a trigger for you, so let me get rid of it. And even if you're all the way to the garbage, you're like, I cannot believe I'm throwing away another good towel just because this girl hasn't gotten over it, right? But you show me that compassion, you know darn well you've increased the chances of me doing what? Being able to show compassion back to you. You've increased the chance, me going, oh, I'm like gonna exhale. Because as you walk away to the garbage to take that towel to the garbage, I'm exhaling because, oh my gosh, you're listening to me. You get me, okay. And then I know and I can see in your face, you're like, oh, this is dumb, but you're not saying it, so you're showing me compassion. And that makes the we stronger. So are we doing that in our individual relationships? Think of our kids. I know I have to catch myself there. A lot of times with my kids, it's a lot of I and you. I say it's like this and you should do it. And then I have to catch myself. As a parent, you bet I have to guide. There are I and you moments, don't get me wrong, and I'm not afraid of those. I may use them too much though. So when I see that I and you isn't working, I have to catch myself, back up, hit that pause button and listen. understand my children grew up in a different generation. They have different triangles. They're experiencing things different. And so when I start to listen and I start to be curious and say, hey, tell me more about that, because I'll be honest, I'm reacting to what you're saying. But I do want to understand what you're saying. And then if they can see from listening to what they're talking about, I'm changing. I'm like, okay, all right, so I hear you. You think this type of discipline would be unfair. You do understand you did something wrong. You're asking if it could be like this. And if they see me thinking it through and I'm willing to, okay, you know, sometimes I'm like, yeah, and I'm not. We're still going to have this discipline. But sometimes I'll be like, you're right. When they see me hit the pause button, they see that I have awareness that my experience is different than theirs. They see me trying to understand their experience better. And they see me really try to listen. I think what they're feeling then is listened to, and they're feeling compassion. And oftentimes the solution we come up with is much more effective than if I would have just been like, you are going to do this. So bring that back with our children. We're a we unit. But to be a we have to listen. We have to be aware. We have to hit that pause button. And we have to start to then show some compassion and empathy. In our love relationships, same thing. It gets so easy because we're stressed as couples, aren't we? It gets so easy that because we're so busy that if, you know, I'm like, oh, this towel smells, oh, throw it away. And my significant other doesn't. And it's like, oh man, would you just get over it? That's so stupid. It's like, oh, right? Look at I'm just like, oh. And if we have little comments like that throughout the day, we just get defeated. And then what do? We turn inward. And we're no longer we, the couple. And we start looking for our empathy and our understanding and people to listen to us outside of our relationship. Now bring it back to the nation. As a nation, it's we the people. And we in America hold a lot of diversity. We hold a lot of diversity. And we can continue to say, well, they just. But I have to tell you, I don't see either of the theys listening. When I say, well, they just need to do this, I don't see that working. No one, very rarely does anyone change because another group thinks I should, right? If we want to live out we the people, that means you and I have to continue to increase our awareness so that we understand what we're reacting to and why. We have to be willing to hit that pause button and be curious. That's my sister or brother over there. That's my fellow American over there. Can you help me understand how you're feeling and what you're thinking? And when they give me their answer, it might not make sense. I have told people, you know what? I haven't had that experience. I do not understand that. I've said that many times. But I'm going to honor that for you, this is very important. And when I say that, people, you can see again, just like me in a relationship, it's like, oh, thanks. And then I said, my experience is this. People often listen. And I'll say, I'm not saying my experience is better or right or wrong. I'm just, here's my experience, and this is maybe why I'm missing where you're coming from. But it opens, we can start to have a dialogue. Does it mean we agree? Absolutely not. Have a lot of people in my life I do not agree with, or they don't agree with me. But because we're showing that we can respect each other as fellow Americans, we can listen to each other, we're willing to hit the pause button, and we're willing to understand where that other person is coming from, we continue to be have strong friendships. So I ask this week, as we go through and we listen to all the things going on in our country, when you are like me and you catch yourself going, oh man, if they would just hit the pause button, remind yourself, not that person, not about them. Think about yourself first. Why am I having a strong reaction to this? And well, because I think that what they're doing is hurtful. Well, why do I think it's hurtful? What in my experience says this won't work? What in my experience says that's a dumb idea? Because that allows us to understand where we're coming from. And then be curious. So what experiences might they have that they're looking at it completely different? That opens the door to having a we. That is how countries stay strong and sustainable. And I love America. I want my country to continue to be strong and sustainable. And that is dependent on we, the people. I know you could have been anywhere else. So thank you for being here, sharing this time together, and have a great week.